Imaging technology has the potential to answer some of the oldest questions surrounding the mysteries of King Tutankhamen's tomb. King Tutankhamen, known today as King Tut, ruled for about a decade from 1332 to 1342 BC. He died at the tender age of 19 and remained in an untouched tomb until its discovery by Howard Carter in 1922. When Howard stumbled upon it, he was blown away by the myriad of different artifacts, and King Tut became one of the most famously studied mummies. But there are still a lot of unanswered questions, and a 2016 imaging scan that shows the possibility of hidden chambers could find those answers. Even within the last decade, a coffin storage area has been uncovered in the tomb, along with another room that housed a Temple of Karnak singer. That scan shows there could be even more waiting to be discovered. Some scholars believe that King Tut's tomb was always a little on the small side for a pharaoh. Some even think his sudden death saw it quickly repurposed, and that the tomb may have served another purpose. Others believe the tomb may also house Queen Nefertiti, whose mummified remains haven't been found. Time will tell what mysteries this new form of imaging technology can uncover in King Tut's tomb. Before we go on, we have a cool challenge for y'all. It'll take about 5 seconds to complete. Let's make a deal. Just leave a like on this video, smash that subscribe button, and hit the notification bell, and you will get 10 years of amazing luck and fortune. Try it, it actually works. Now it's time for the odd topic. When Patrick Jackson snapped this photo of his girlfriend stepping out of the water at the beach one day, he thought what he was grabbing was photographic evidence of a wholesome memory. But when he got back home and took another look at the photo, he couldn't believe what he saw. A man wearing a black morph suit appeared to be popping out of the water just behind her. Sure, we all know at least one guy who would buy one of these things and wear it to prank people. That goes without saying. But the curious thing is that Jackson insists the morph suit wearing mystery man simply was not there. Some have said it may be some kind of ghost, but others have said it's clearly just a guy wearing a morph suit. Our theory? It's both. They say your ghost lives on forever wearing what you wore when you passed away. What if this is the ghost of a guy who died while wearing something very, very stupid? Remember to comment down below with the hashtag #OddTopic and let us know your opinion in relation to what we just showed on screen. And now, to the next topic. Number 14. The Baltic Sea Anomaly. If you've always been wanting some proof, some sign, some indication that something of extraterrestrial origins exists, then the Baltic Sea Anomaly might be the very answer for which you've been seeking. In 2011, a group of diving experts were exploring in the Baltic Sea when they stumbled across a mass of around 180 feet in diameter, about 300 feet beneath the sea's surface. It didn't look like anything they had ever seen before and even had a trail leading to it, which made it appear as if it were something that had crash-landed into the ocean. It was smooth in places, appeared to be circle-shaped, and had strange protrusions at intervals. The diving and deep-sea exploration team known as Ocean X had also observed it with sonar imaging and thought it looked quite unusual. Since then, many explorers have dived into the dark depths of the Baltic Sea off the coast of Sweden in the hopes of identifying what the anomaly really is. So far, no one knows. Some video footage sheds a little light, but many people believe it looks like a Star Wars Millennium Falcon, except for its rock face-like walls and smooth, unnatural features. Even more peculiar is what happened when that first diving team approached the anomaly. Within 650 feet of it, they started to notice their electrical equipment was malfunctioning. It then corrected the further away it got. Is it a UFO? Is it a rock? We may never know. Number 13. Room 428. If you scare easily, you're gonna want to pause this video, turn on all the lights in your house, and possibly never visit Ohio. There's a lot of mystery surrounding room 428 at Ohio University, and to be honest, no one's all too keen to get to the bottom of it. Some things are better left unsolved. This room within the Athens, Ohio University is thought to be one of the most haunted places in the world. Due to paranormal events that happen on an all too frequent basis, it was also shut off to students permanently. Supposedly, these paranormal events are all down to a single female student performing a satanic ritual in the room. People have observed objects moving on their own, demon faces appearing on the door, and loud footsteps in the night. Eventually, a student died there and the room was sealed. But it's not only room 428 that's an unsolved mystery, but other parts of Ohio University as well. Given its age, constructed in 1804, there are thought to be many haunted areas in this university. Fox gave a lot of authenticity to these claims by featuring the campus on their TV series, Scariest Places on Earth. Giving room 428 a run for its money is Wilson Hall, which forms part of a pentagram of cemeteries dotted around the region on university grounds. It's thought that Wilson Hall is where the ghost of the person who died in room 428 now resides. Number 12. Morgellons disease. Being diseased with any medical condition can be both a burden and a lifelong problem, but spare a thought for those who have Morgellons disease. Not only do doctors not know much about this disease, but they don't even know how to cure it, what causes it, and whether it even really exists. It's thought that around 13,000 people in the United States suffer from it in varying degrees. The most common symptom of it is multicolored strands of what looks like string sprouting up from beneath your skin. You can often feel like something is crawling over your skin, biting you and stinging you all in one go. Morgellons disease sufferers are often told that their condition is all in their head because it's so hard to understand or describe. Usually, the only evidence of it even existing, apart from in your own head, are those tiny filaments that pop through your skin. As a result, medical professionals who have delved into the condition call it a fiber disease, or unexplained dermopathy as a fancier term. Curious doctors got together and decided that the first treatment option for this condition should be a psychiatric evaluation. Both medicinal and psychiatric assistants may then be able to keep the symptoms at a manageable level. Even though Morgellons disease is unique and almost unheard of, it's not new. Medical papers from 1674 outlined a medical condition that was described as weird, incurable, and that seemed like it was from outer space. Number 11. Spontaneous human combustion. Imagine sitting in your favorite armchair reading a book, then all of a sudden bursting into flame. Spontaneous human combustion has remained a mystery since time began, but cases are still appearing and baffling fire investigators. Spontaneous human combustion is described as a living or recently deceased human bursting into flames without an apparent source of ignition. While investigators have come up with a few different theories, there have never been any concrete answers. Recent and ancient cases of SHC continue to leave experts scratching their head. A 67-year-old woman was found as a pile of ash, except for one leg, inside an otherwise intact home. Her landlady only entered the house after she noticed the door handle was a little hot. She was found in a destroyed chair with an internal body temperature of 3,500 degrees Fahrenheit. The fire burned a socket, but it had not started at the socket, nor had it damaged her furniture or home. Many other SHC cases have been similar, where possessions have survived the fire, but the body's temperature has been in the thousands of degrees with no obvious ignition source. Some cases before the coroner have been noted as death by fire with the cause as unknown, while one death in Ireland was ruled as spontaneous human combustion. So far, all experts can think of is that static electricity, obesity, alcohol consumption, stress, and bacteria, or a mixture of a few, could contribute to the risk. But to this day, it's still a mystery. Number 10. Globsters. When something washes up on the shore that you can't identify or explain, it can be hard to know what to call it. You know it might be important, but thing or mass simply doesn't cut it. For unexplained, strange, organic masses that wash up on shorelines, the word globster is the favored term. You can now define globster as an unidentified organic mass that is hard to identify by an untrained observer. It might have no defining features, or it could merely be an absurd or rare creature that no one has ever seen. Ivan Sanderson coined the word globster in 1962 after he found a unique carcass. The mass he found had no defined head or visible eyes, and it didn't even have a bone structure. Most people called it a blob, but Ivan took it one step further and named it the Tasmanian globster. This creature was unlike anything anyone had ever seen, and it had 6 fleshy arms, tusk-like bumps instead of a mouth, and white bristles on its body. Another example of a globster was the St. Augustine monster that 2 children found on a beach. It was a giant 5-ton mass that had sunk into the sand under its own weight, and had 4 arm stumps. People queried whether it had been a squid, octopus, or sperm whale, but no one knew for sure. A portion of the globster was kept at the Smithsonian for later testing. In 2004, scientists concluded it was probably a whale. Number 9. Fish rain. Give a man a fish and he'll eat for a day. Give a man a downpour of them and he'll run inside and probably call the police. Something fishy is going on, and no one has any idea how to begin explaining it. Since time began, there have been strange occurrences of animals and objects raining from the sky. Historical reports and newspaper clippings show that people were horrified when seeds, nuts, maggots, hay, snakes, shredded meat, frogs, salt, and cinders randomly fell onto people and their homes throughout the years. These occurrences happened in random places and at random times, and in most cases were not easy to explain. But more recently, it's been raining fish. In 2017, Tampico, Mexico residents were running for cover when fish began raining down and bouncing off houses, cars, and pavements. If it weren't a town-wide occurrence, then you'd question the sanity of anyone who claimed that it happened. According to the U.S. Library of Congress, this very situation occurred in ancient times too. Fulshear, Texas had its own fishy issue the following year. The mangled, rotting corpses of fish rained down on the Texas township, sending its residents running for cover. There was nothing to explain that downpour either. There were no adverse weather effects, no water spouts, and no nearby bodies of water. It's still a mystery. A fishy mystery. Number 8. The Dancing Plague. Have you ever danced to the point of exhaustion? You got all hot and sweaty, so decided to take a break, get a drink, maybe, call it a night. For sufferers of the dancing plague, they couldn't stop. The dancing plague, also called the dance epidemic, was a strange condition that began in Strasbourg, Alsace, France in 1518. One woman began dancing uncontrollably on city streets, before 34 people who couldn't seem to help themselves joined in. Before long, 300 people were affected, and all were dancing without having any control over what they were doing or how to stop. While it might seem like a harmless, even beneficial condition, it wasn't. Without being able to stop, several people died from strokes, heart attacks, and exhaustion. At its peak, the dancing epidemic was killing 15 people per day, and doctors were advising people to dance it out. Instead of helping them in any way, they built them a wooden stage. According to experts, even a modern marathon runner would not have been able to handle the intensity of this non-stop workout. The epidemic then spread or began in Italy, and people would twitch, dance, then be drawn to the sea. Many would throw themselves into the water and die. Even children in Germany were affected. At least 100 children danced for miles until they collapsed from exhaustion. Some died as a result. The cause of this unique condition is still not known. Tarantula bites were thought to be to blame, but no one knows for sure. Some people were able to stop themselves from dancing by being punched in the stomach, and others helped dancers by swaddling them like a baby. Those who were able to stop lived out their days with a strange tremor. Number 7. Tunguska Event. There aren't too many explosions throughout history that have been unexplained. Sure, there have been people who have turned a blind eye to what caused a blast, but what caused one has never been in question. Until something strange happened by Russia's Tunguska River. In June 1908, an explosion flattened 770 miles of forest and killed 3 people. Natives and settlers had seen a blue light as bright as the sun moving across the sky, followed by a flash and what sounded like gunfire. The sound moved from east to west and sent a shockwave through the area that broke windows and knocked people over hundreds of miles from the center of the explosion. According to experts, the blast along the Tunguska River had energy 1,000 times greater than the blast that brought Hiroshima, Japan to its knees. Most explosions that occur have an impact crater, but there was nothing to be found. Therefore, an astrophysicist by the name of Wolfgang Kundt believes 10 million tons of natural gas is to blame. He thinks the Earth's crust released and exploded the gas, but there is no definitive proof of this. The area has regenerated over the years, and there is now little evidence that anything mysterious ever happened there. Number 6. The WOW signal. In 1977, astronomer Jerry Emin noticed something interesting while looking at data from the Ohio State University's Big Ear Radio Telescope. This piece of equipment was used for searching for extraterrestrial intelligence. The 72-second long signal, which Jerry circled and wrote "WOW" beside, has now become known as the WOW signal. It's probably the closest the human race has ever come to communicating with or identifying alien life. The signal came from the direction of Sagittarius, the constellation, and ticked all the right boxes for being of extraterrestrial origin. While repeated attempts were made to get another signal, one never came. There has also been no widely accepted or logical answer for how this signal could be anything other than extraterrestrial life. Number 5. 2,000-year-old computer. When Greek divers on a boat at the turn of the century hit a storm on the island of Antikythera, they decided to dock and wait out the bad weather. Making the most of their time, they began diving around the area to see what they could catch. One diver came back and said he had found the rotting remains of bodies from a shipwrecked boat. As it turns out, they were statues, and the divers had stumbled across the boat's loot. The divers set about restoring the vases and sculptures and recovering all the booty, which is thought to have been there for at least 2,000 years or since 85 BC. In their haste, they almost didn't notice a strange-looking device that consisted of 82 pieces, 30 gear wheels, and advanced technology that was not seen in Europe for at least another 1,000 years. It was thought to be the first computer and became known as the Antikythera mechanism. X-ray technology revealed that the computer was far more advanced for its time than it should be, and theories started floating around that it wasn't of this world. However, it was actually used for astronomical purposes, knowing the days of the year, where the 5 planets were, and the positioning of the moon and sun. Inscriptions found in 2000 showed small Greek writing in the form of an instruction manual. It's unknown whether the mechanism is a teaching tool, a one-off, or something there were more of. What researchers do know, however, is that the technology to use it is simply incredible for its time. Number 4. Mystery moon mass. There aren't all that many numbers bigger than, say, the US government's public debt level, but a mystery moon mass is giving that 22 trillion figure a run for its money. The moon has an impact crater the size of our solar system, but it also has a considerable mass underneath it. That mass is thought to be 4.8 quintillion pounds. The mass is buried under the moon's surface, and no one has any real idea of what it is. Scientists believe it could be metal from an asteroid impact sitting in the moon's mantle, but how could we know for sure? Unfortunately, we may never know all the answers, for the crater and what's underneath it is on the far side of the moon and not visible to us Earth dwellers. Number 3. The Taos Hum. The New Mexico township of Taos is known as laid back and a little artsy, but that's not all it's known for. The area has been home to an unusual humming sound since the 1990s. Around 2% of the population believe they've heard it, and some people as far away as Ireland report hearing a droning, humming noise that's both frequent and not audible to everyone. To get to the bottom of the sound, experts from various laboratories and universities got together to look into it. While they used high-tech equipment and spent a lot of time testing several areas, they came up empty-handed. To this day, no one knows what the hum is or whether it even exists. Number 2. Voynich manuscript. The Voynich manuscript, which gets its name from the Polish book dealer who purchased it in 1912, is a 250-page book that no one knows anything about. It's written in a unique language or writing system, and even includes pictures of plant species that don't appear to exist. Nothing is known about who wrote it, where it comes from, or what it's about. All that is known through carbon dating is that it's from the 1400s. It may have been used as a medical book, and its first confirmed owner was a Prague alchemist. Many a cryptographer and codebreaker have tried to decipher the text, but to no avail. It appears, at least for now, that this book is going to remain an unsolved mystery. Number 1. What's underneath Stonehenge? Perhaps one of the more exciting discoveries and mysteries in the modern age has been what lies beneath Stonehenge. For as long as we've been visiting this attraction, we've been under the impression that it's a standalone structure. With the help of remote sensing techniques and surveys, it's now been found that an elaborate underground structure with monuments, burial grounds, pits, and shrines exists. Stonehenge is literally sitting on a treasure trove. Within a short distance of Stonehenge under the Earth's surface, there were as many as 17 structures. Some were as close as 150 feet from Stonehenge. Before now, one had to dig into the dirt to find out what lay underneath, but ground-penetrating radar is a game changer. Now, researchers must work out what all these monuments and structures mean and what their purpose was all those hundreds of years ago. Life is one big mystery, but it's amazing how many huge mysteries are still waiting to be solved. Which one surprised you the most? Do you have any other theories or answers? Also, check out our other cool stuff showing up on screen right now. See you next time!